Hi everyone, today I wanted to talk about what do you do after you receive the diagnosis of autism. When Dylan got diagnosed, I remember feeling like a headless chicken. I didn't know which way to turn, I didn't know where to go, I didn't know what to do. I just felt a bit confused and a bit all over the shop. So I thought today it might be helpful if I run through some steps on what you do once you get the diagnosis. Step one, breathe. Yes, you heard me, just breathe, You all doing that? Good. That's the first step. Step two, remember your child is still your child. The autism doesn't take over them. Yes, they have a diagnosis of autism, but it's still the child you gave birth to, adopted, care for. It's still your baby. I remember thinking that the autism was going to take over Dylan somehow and he was going to be a different child. But it wasn't. It was me who had to change. Dylan was still doing the things he did for months before, but all of a sudden I was looking at him with different eyes. And I think it's okay to look at him with different eyes, but realize that your child actually hasn't changed. They're still the same child. Step three, prepare for early intervention. This is a key foundation. I know you've heard it before, early intervention, early intervention, early intervention. Although there isn't a cure for autism, there are many therapies that can help your child. I know I'm sounding a bit like a doctor now, but it's true. Speech therapy. Now, what is speech therapy? Do they help your child speak? Yes, they do help your child articulate different words, but also they help you with sign language, PECs, which are the little pictures that you can use, that if your child can't speak, is the way of communicating with you. There's occupational therapy, which helps your child and you with their gross and fine motor skills, which is like picking things up, and also to help them self-regulate themselves. I never knew that about occupational therapy. I didn't actually know what it meant. In fact, the first time someone mentioned occupational therapy to me, I thought, isn't this a bit early to start thinking about what they're going to do as a career when they get older? But no, occupational therapy helps your child with their fine and gross motor skills, but also helps them self-regulate themselves. So if they're stimming, what to do to help calm those senses down a bit. There's also physical therapy, which helps them with their core strength. And of course, there's ABA, which is applied behavioral analysis, which is also very good to look into. So all these therapies can help build a foundation of skills that your child can use. It's all really important to support them in this, to be able to communicate socially with you and with other people. Now, you're probably wondering how you even go about getting a speech therapist, an occupational therapist. The best thing to do is to go to your doctor and ask for a referral, and they will refer you to the local speech therapist and the occupational therapist. In the UK, this is all covered by the NHS. In America, I believe that most of the medical insurances do cover a lot of these therapies. For ABA, I think they have a limit of how much you can spend doing the ABA, but even one session of ABA, I believe, is very beneficial, so it's worth looking into that. The next thing I would suggest that you do, which I found very helpful, is to go and find your local early year centre. In the early year centre, they usually have like a little play group they can put you onto, and you can meet other parents who are going through the same thing you are, because as we all know, a community and being with someone who understands makes us feel stronger, and you build a network of people around you who understand what it's like to live with autism on a daily basis. So now we've kind of spoken about where to go to get the help with the speech therapy and the occupational therapy. The next thing is you. You have to learn to listen with not just your ears. You have to listen with your heart, and you have to listen to your child. So Dylan couldn't speak to me. He didn't know how to communicate with me. And I almost did so much for him that I didn't give him a chance to tell me what he wanted. And it was really an important lesson for me to just sit back and watch and observe him and let him tell me in his own way of what he wanted. And by building up a trust in the fact that I could meet his needs and he knew that what he was trying to say was getting through to me, was really crucial. And I think it was a really, as I've mentioned before, a really important part of myself and Dylan's bonding. It's so easy to want to overprotect your child, to want to do everything for them, that they don't really get a chance to be able to communicate to you, because just because your child isn't talking doesn't mean they don't want to communicate. Don't be afraid to try something new. You know, I remember holding back and not wanting to go take him to swimming lessons in case he didn't like it. I didn't want to take him to the park in case he didn't like it. I almost became too overprotective of him, and I don't think that was a very good way of actually going about it. And I remember the first time I did take him swimming and he really enjoyed it, I was thinking, why didn't I do this before? He really enjoys it. So don't let autism hold you back. You know, we would take any neurotypical child or another child of ours swimming. Why wouldn't we take our child with autism swimming? Because we're scared, we're afraid. So don't be afraid to try, Don't be afraid to try new things and to take them swimming, because you actually might be pleasantly surprised. But in the same breath, don't be afraid to say no either. You know, like if you're going swimming and it's going great for 3 weeks and on the 4th week they don't like it, don't take them. It's okay to say no. It's okay to phone up, you know, if you've paid for swimming lessons, it's okay to phone them up and say, listen, can I please use this as credit for another lesson because today he's just not feeling it. And by doing that, you strengthen that bond between you and your child, because your child's going, okay, I'm talking, you're listening. And that is really great. So it's learning about your child, really, isn't it? It's about learning what they can take and what they can't take. And sometimes they're really up for it and sometimes they're not. And by the way, I'm still learning this every day, even now. So it's a good reminder for me too. I watched a documentary, which is really amazing. It's quite sad. It's called The Horse Boy. And we watched it, and this boy used to stim a lot and he didn't speak, but he only spoke when he went onto this horse. So me in my head, I'm thinking, we need to do horse riding. Dylan's gonna get on a horse and he's gonna start talking. He's gonna be a different child. So the first thing I did after watching this documentary is I phoned up a horse riding stables and I booked Dylan a one-to-one lesson with this horse. And I was convinced that Dylan was gonna get on this horse, because I actually do love horse riding myself. I was convinced that he was gonna hop on this horse and he was gonna start talking and he was gonna stop stimming. Because a friend of ours had also put their child into horse riding and had really amazing results from it. So of course I was thinking, this is gonna help, right? So we get to the horse riding center and I put Dylan on this horse and I'm looking at him like, waiting for this aha moment. Of course, it never came. Dylan just looked at me like I was nuts and just sat there plodding like a sack of potatoes for about half an hour. Anyways, when we take Dylan swimming and he gets in the water, we do have a magic moment, because it does calm him down, and he loves swimming with his ears under the water. He loves the sound, and that is a magic moment because he calms down, and even when he gets out of the water, he's a lot calmer. So for us, swimming was a magic moment. Horse riding wasn't. Maybe for your child, horse riding is it. I don't know. You know, it's the same with getting a dog. A dog might calm your child down. It might not. Instead of rushing out and buying a puppy, which I have done before, you can get dogs that are therapy dogs that can come to your house, and they can have a wonderfully calming effect. But again, listen to your child. They're going to tell you, and don't be disappointed if it doesn't work out, and try and laugh at it. So these are just some of the steps that I hope will help you in moving forward. Like I said, go to your doctor, first port of call, get them to refer you to some specialists, to some early intervention. Don't forget about you in this process. Take some time for you to go for a walk, take a breath, take a bath. You know, you can't lose yourself in autism, because that gets you nowhere and that doesn't help you or your child. And like I said before, autism hasn't robbed your child. Your child is still the same. It's the way we think. And if we can change the way we think, I believe there's a more positive way forward. So thank you so much for watching. Like always, please leave a comment below. Let's get the conversation started, because together we are stronger. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday.
Can go down.
What was that?
Hi.